Tennessee won big, broke records in the process, but did Tennessee accomplish what we discussed it needed to on Friday's show? Check, check, check. No. What was that no? And is it a big deal? Coming up now on a Monday show.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into it, your Monday morning Locked On Vols. I am your host, Cain. Can't thank you enough for being here, making Locked On Vols a part of your morning routine, your first listen, your first watch each and every single morning. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day. Big shout out to our friends over at Gametime for being a part of the show today. You can download the Gametime app, create an account, put in the redeem code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Again, big shout out to Gametime for being a part of today's show. I'm your host, Cain. Really appreciate you guys for being here, making Locked On Vols again your first listen, your first watch each and every single morning. I'm a part of the VolQuest.com team here in town, covering your Tennessee Volunteers on the football field, basketball, recruiting, baseball, and so much more. Lots to talk about here on today's show, as Tennessee's now 2-0. Program record win as well. We'll get to that here in a moment. But modern era program record for points, 72 points, first downs, 41 first downs, and I'll go ahead and do it right now. The 500th win at Shields Watkins Field. All that happened on Saturday when Tennessee demolished FCS ETSU 72-17. So my big thoughts from the game in segment one. I'm going to look at Pro Football Focus, some notes, not necessarily grades, but some notes and tidbits from this game from Pro Football Focus, and then some early lines over at FanDuel for Tennessee and Georgia, and what the ESPN matchup predictor thinks about Tennessee and Georgia coming up this weekend at Neyland Stadium. So looking forward to that, of course, right here on Locked On Vols. So my big thoughts from the weekend, man. We talked on Friday's show, and we wanted to see, the explosive plays. Check. Wanted to see a ton of young guys. I listed a ton of young guys. Check, all that. Wanted to see no injuries. Tennessee got out of there injury-free. Check. That was great to see. The only bullet point or the only box that wasn't checked, if you will, was the takeaways defensively. Tennessee had no takeaways defensively. I'm not going to dive too deep into that because I don't think that's that big of a deal. ETSU had tons and tons and tons of 3-and-outs. Tennessee sacked the quarterback 3 times, had 7 TFLs. The first touchdown Tennessee gave up, it was only because of the offense, and I'll get to this here in a moment more in detail. It's only because the offense turned it over deep in its own territory. I thought the defense was fine. I thought everything that Tennessee set out to accomplish in this game, Tennessee accomplished, and that's good, right? You want to be feeling good, you want to have plenty of momentum, and you want to be looking good heading into the biggest game on your schedule, and that's coming up this week against Georgia. More on the Georgia game here in a little bit, because the anticipation, man, it was always there on Saturday for Georgia game, because again, the opponent is just who it is. But now we can fully focus on Tennessee and Georgia. Looking forward to previewing this matchup all week long, and hopefully getting a crossover later in the week and all that. But let's start with the not so pretty, and they kind of talking about that turnover offensively. There's plenty more I'm going to get into positives, but the unforced errors have got to stop. That's 2 games in a row, 2 turnovers on unforced errors. Luckily, in the Syracuse game, the defense got it right back. In fact, they got the football right back and scored on a scoop and score. The turnover in this game against ETSU resulted in a walk-in touchdown for ETSU on, I think it was the next play. It might have been the second to next play. But it was at the 5-yard line, and it was simply just a bad snap. Week 1, it was a mesh point deal with Aguilar and Star Thomas. Week 2, it was a bad snap from Sam Pendleton. And ironically, all 3 of those guys are transfers. But give me all 3 of those guys, because all 3 of those guys have been balling out so far. I like all 3 of them. But Sam Pendleton, just a bad snap. Well to the right of Joey Aguilar. There was a couple of iffy snaps, and the snap issues were a thing in fall camp. And some people might be sitting here thinking and listening, how in the world is snapping that big of a deal? Just snap the football. Well, like with anything, you get in your own head and you start second guessing yourself. Well, do I need to put more velocity on that? Am I doing it too hard? And just like anything, it becomes that much more of a hurdle. And I'm not saying that Sam Pendleton's there, but Sam Pendleton and William Satterwhite. I mean, heck, Glenn Ellerby was talking about William Satterwhite just snapping the football in fall camp and how they're still trying to get that consistently from him. That bad snap was a horrendous time for that, because you were backed up in your own territory. And again, ETSU scored its first points of the game from the 5-yard line. And if I'm Tennessee's defense, I'm sitting here like, what the crap, man? Like, that's going to go against my season average. Like, that's not my fault, And so that's a tough pill to swallow if you're the Tennessee defense. But the unforced errors got to go. You've had 2 in 2 weeks. They got to go, because those unforced errors, they'll get you beat against Georgia. They will get you beat against Georgia. All right, now I get off my soapbox. That was the bad. That was the only thing that was bad for the most part. A lot of good, right? I thought with the running back room, it's kind of one of those things like if it's not broke, don't fix it. But at what point do you see Peyton Lewis's runs diminish some and you give more to DeSean Bishop and more to Star Thomas? Or do you see it at all? Let me, disclaimer here. I'm a Peyton Lewis believer. I like Peyton Lewis. I think he's going to be a great back. In fact, of the three, I think he's going to be the best back. Not necessarily this season, but just in the overall scope of a football player. But clearly, he's not seeing the field as well as DeSean Bishop and Star Thomas right now. Those two guys are like on another level right now compared to what Peyton Lewis is seeing the field. And Star Thomas has arguably been Tennessee's best back so far. And DeSean Bishop just continues to rattle off explosive play. Broke a tackle in the backfield for a 47-yard gain in week 1. Caught a swing pass for a big gain. Caught a screen pass on 3rd and 10 for a big gain. He dropped 2 passes yesterday, which is unfortunate. Made the comment about not wearing gloves earlier in the week. Maybe he'll wear gloves moving forward. But DeSean Bishop, again, a 50-yard gain on the first drive, setting up a touchdown. Like, he's been unbelievable to begin the season. Star Thomas has been Tennessee's most physical runner, and he's led the team in rushing each of the first 2 weeks, albeit only by 1 yard over DeSean Bishop in week 2. But my point is, clearly, those two guys are seeing the field better right now than Peyton Lewis. So, in a game like Georgia, do you stay with the same rotation? If DeSean Bishop and or Peyton Lewis are hot, and or Star Thomas are hot, do you keep them in there and you keep Peyton Lewis at the side? I don't know. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Tennessee rushed for 246 in week 1, 259 or whatever in week 2. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But recognize Georgia's defense is going to be pretty good. Much better than that of Syracuse's, and obviously in a different stratosphere than that of ETSU. So that's something I'm paying attention to this week is the running back rotation. All three of them I am fans of, and I am high on Peyton Lewis. But right now, DeSean Bishop and Star Thomas are outplaying him. And it's looking pretty good. The explosives, man, loved it in a game like this when you set program records for points in the modern era. Somebody asked what the modern era means since 1939. Modern era program record for points, 72. First downs, 41. Explosive plays are going to be there offensively, and they were. Tennessee had 10 plays of 15-plus yards through the air, 8 plays of 10-plus yards on the ground. I thought Chris Brazzell and Mike Matthews obviously had a big hand in that. Chris Brazzell, 21-yard touchdown reception, had a 53-yard jump ball from Mike Matthews. Both those plays were touchdowns. There was an explosive play to Braylon Staley that was wiped off due to a holding call by Ethan Davis in real time. I'm like, what are you talking about? That was a pancake. Saw on the replay, he had his hand wrapped around the shoulder pad, so that's an easy giveaway right there. Brazzell on explosive plays, 94 yards on 4 catches. Matthews on explosive plays, 72 yards on 2 catches. Overall in the day, those guys went over the century mark. 125 yards, 11 catches for Chris Brazzell, 111 yards, 6 receptions for Mike Matthews. I love that going into Georgia. You need confidence going into Georgia, and those two guys played like wide receiver number ones on the day. Interestingly enough, Juwan Morris's 10-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter was the only explosive run that found its way into the end zone, but there were plenty of other explosive runs that set up touchdowns. I mentioned DeSean Bishop's opening drive run, that set up a touchdown. He had an 18-yard run later in the game. Thomas had 3 carries that exceeded 10 yards. He had a hat trick in the first half, which was pretty incredible. While we're talking about explosives, I wrote a story about this Saturday night. Boo Carter in the punt return game, and I know ETSU was the opponent, but this is why Boo Carter is so valuable for you in the return game, because he can flip the field. 4 returns in the first quarter, 94 yards, averaging 24 yards per return, set the offense up at the 49 one time, the 27 one time, and the 5 one time, or the 4-yard line one time. Completely flipped the field, had a return of 34 yards and a return of 40 yards. Just incredible. And with Tennessee being an underdog, we did that here in a moment with the FanDuel line. With Tennessee being an underdog in this game, you're going to be looking for any edge that you can get. And Boo Carter in the punt return game, is an edge for sure. Love the explosives in this game. And then let's talk about the defense real quick. Again, it was kind of status quo. Like, they scored a touchdown, kicked the field goal late. Tennessee played everybody on its bench, essentially. Some notes that I picked up. I think we saw that Trey Poteet right now is the 5th cornerback. Jalen McMurray still started at star. He didn't play any cornerback in this one because he didn't need to. But I'm still of the belief that the 3rd cornerback, while Ricky Gibson and Jamal McCoy are out, and I don't expect either one of those guys to play this week, is going to be Jalen McCullough. Not Jalen McCullough. Had a sack in the NFL yesterday. is going to be Jalen McMurray, backing up Ty Redmond, the freshman, and of course Colton Hood, the transfer. But you saw William Wright. He's the fourth corner. Trey Poteet was that fourth corner in the game on Saturday, and so I think that he's fifth on the line. Sidney Walton was the fourth safety in the football game. The only other safety we've seen, I guess, in the pecking order. It's been a three-man rotation so far. Isaiah Campbell got 13 snaps. Ethan Utley got 14 snaps. Jamal Wallace got 13 snaps. Dominic Bailey and Bryson Eason, 25 and 24 snaps respectively. I like that. Clearly, Josh Snell's not an impact player at defensive tackle right now. He only got, 6 snaps or whatever. I thought Jordan Ross flashed. Only had 14 snaps, but had a TFL and had a couple of pressures. Joshua Joseph's had a sack. He's had a sack in each game to begin the season. I thought Tyree West stepped up in a big way because Tyree Weathersby didn't even play in this game, right? So when you are down so many at defensive tackle and you got to shift Don Bailey inside, man, Tyree West has got to step up. He actually got the start, played 27 snaps, and I thought looked good doing it, had a sack. And Tennessee needs Tyree West, a guy that's been playing football for him for quite some time, to step up and be a dude for him. So, nothing crazy defensively. Again, I think zone coverage, middle of the field is something they got to work on. I think man coverage on the outside has been good. I think the corners have been good. Safety of the linebacker playing in the middle of the field is kind of a weak spot right now, and Georgia's going to look to exploit that. But, again, all those boxes, check, minus the takeaways. No takeaways in this game. So, Tennessee dominated. David Sanders Jr. still didn't play. We'll have more on that this week. It seems like he's been very, very close to being playing. It's been kind of a game-time decision. We'll see if he's available this week, and if he is, the question is, do you start him? First game against Georgia. We'd love your input on that at _Cainer and at Locked On Vols. Can be a part of the Twitter Tuesday mailbag show coming up tomorrow, when I take your questions, answer them to the best of my abilities right here at _Cainer and Locked On Vols, and of course, comment on the YouTube channel. All right, that is going to do it here for this segment of your Monday Locked On Vols. We got so much more to get into. When we come back, we'll take a look at Pro Football Focus. We'll talk about some of the big notes from this game, the noteworthy stats that don't show up on the PDF stat sheet. That's coming up next as we continue on here this Monday Locked On Vols. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with SupplyHouse. Order today and these parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? SupplyHouse has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Their part finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on the jobs where the details truly matter. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use the promo code SHCollege5. That is SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries. Hey, Florida lost this weekend. Don't know if you know that. The energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real. Getting tickets can feel more like a battle than the game itself sometimes. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices at checkout. That's why I use Gametime. The app gives you the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I pulled up Gametime, and in just a couple of taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games as low as $25. Man, the app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying. How about that? Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets today with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, put in the redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That is promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Hey guys, welcome back into your Monday morning Locked On Vols. Again, don't forget, mailbag questions. I'll take those on tomorrow's show at _Cainer and at Locked On Vols. Tennessee moves up to number, I forgot to put it in the bottom scroll. I'm so annoyed by that. Tennessee moved up to 15 in both the AP and the College Bowl, jumped up 2 spots in the Coaches Poll. I said College Bowl, Coaches Poll. Jumped up 7 spots in the AP poll. Tennessee is now number 15 in the country this week, ahead of a top 5 showdown with Georgia. All right, looking back at the Pro Football Focus notes, not necessarily grades, but we're going to point out a couple of the grades because they're pretty good. Joey Aguilar, according to Pro Football Focus, 94.2 was his grade. And I will remind you, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll put it here on the bottom. Pro Football Focus scale. Elite is 90 to 99. Very good is 80 to 89. Above average starter, 70 to 79. Average starter, 60 to 69. Below average starter, 50 to 59. And below 50 is considered a backup level player. Joey Aguilar scoring in the elite category, 94.2, 56 snaps. Jesse Perry at right tackle, second straight game starting at right tackle when he's a right guard, 91%. Woo, Chris Brazel, 89%. Tommy Winton, 88%. Jake Merklinger was up there in 30 snaps, 86%. Max Anderson at 82%. Shami Morov at 81%. Sam Pendleton at 74%. Good to see. Again, a total of 41 players on the offensive end played snaps. That was really, really great to see. A lot of you guys were asking about Amari Jefferson. He only got 2 snaps in this football game. Only 2 snaps. But again, it was first string, second string, third string walk-ons. I mean, everybody played, and that's what you want. Wendell Moy Jr., 74%. Mike Matthews, 76%. Really, really liked what we saw. Let's go look at the passing depth for Joey Aguilar. Down the field passing, did not attempt to pass 20 yards down the field, left of the numbers. Between the numbers, 20 yards down the field, 3 of 3, 92 yards and a touchdown. 53 of those yards went to Mike Matthews for that big explosive play score. Down the field to the right, 20 yards or more, 1 for 1, 21 yards and a touchdown. That was to Chris Brazel on the opening possession. Intermediate, 10 to 20 yards. To the outside left numbers, 1 for 1, 19 yards. In the middle, 3 for 4, 42 yards. To the right, 1 for 2, 9 yards. Short passes from the line of scrimmage within 10 yards. 7 of 9 in the middle, 65 yards. 3 of 5 to the right, 32 yards. 0 of 1 to the left. And then behind the line of scrimmage, middle, 12 yards. And to the right was 1 for 1 for 7 yards. Joey Aguilar was kept clean on 87% of his dropbacks. He was under pressure on just 12% of his dropbacks. He was not blitzed 67% of the time, and he was blitzed 32% of the time, and his grades are off the charts on all of those categories. Just, man, I mean, what a game. Again, ETSU, but Joey Aguilar, what a fantastic start to his Tennessee career. Look at pass blocking real quick. Pro Football Focus in 32 pass blocking reps gives Lance Hurd an 84.9% grade. Shami Morov, 83.7%. Max Anderson in 23 pass blocking reps as a backup, 82%. True freshman Anthony Ogmoro, 23 reps, 82%. William Satterwhite, 21 reps, 80%. Wendell Moy, 32 reps, 77%. Sam Pendleton, 27 reps, 75%. Trying to find the starting offense. Jesse Perry, 32 reps, 70%. Yeah, I mean, the lowest graded was a backup tackle Bennett Warren at 62%. I mean, Tennessee was humming, right? That's a look offensively. Let's go to defense real quick. Boy, oh boy. Jordan Ross, highest graded volunteer on this one, 92.5%, 14 snaps. Tyree West, again, what a game for Tyree West. Tennessee needs Tyree West to step up. He had 27 snaps, 91.5% was his grade on Pro Football Focus. Bryson Eason, 24 snaps, 79%. Ty Redmond, 35 snaps, 78%. Colton Hood, 29 snaps, 77%. Marion Dye, man, I like him. He's going to be a good player. 21 snaps, 77% was his grade. Edwin Spillman, 23 snaps, 76. Joshua Joseph, 17 snaps, 75% was his grade. Carson Gentle, Chattanooga native, got in the game in the second quarter, 9 snaps, 75%. Nathan Robinson played 19 snaps. He's going to be needed next week against Georgia for sure. I'm not going to do all these grades, but Tennessee played 41 players. Again, I think it was 41 players on offense, 41 players on defense as well. Again, emptying the bench, and 28 different volunteers made tackles in this game. How about that? 28 volunteers made tackles in this game. Incredible. Let's go back to the offensive end real quick. I will say this too. Man, the drops have got to stop. Tennessee had 6 drops yesterday. Running backs accounted for 3 of them. So, Braylon Staley had 1 drop. Miles Kitzelman had 1 drop. Desan Brame had 1 drop. So, tight ends had 2. Running backs had 3. DeJuan Morris had a drop. DeSean Bishop had a drop. And then the only wide receiver that had a drop was Braylon Staley. So, again, the numbers for Joey Aguilar, which was really, really good. He completed 70-some-odd% of his passes. 25 of 31, 288 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Could have been even better. Let's go to coverage real quick. I love Pro Football Focus for these specific stats right here. Ty Redmond, all right, he gave up 2 receptions on 5 targets, 13 yards, okay? Caleb Beasley was credited for giving up a touchdown in this one. He's the only one. Ty Redmond targeted twice, targeted 5 times, gave up 2 receptions for 13 yards. Colton Hood targeted twice, no receptions given up. Andre Turrentine was not targeted at all. Arion Carter, linebackers are always going to be skewed in this metric because again they're patrolling the middle of the field and zone. Like it's always going to be a little bit skewed. But Arion Carter targeted 4 times, gave up 4 receptions for 28 yards. William Wright was not targeted at all. Timothy Merritt was targeted once, gave up 1 reception for only 6 yards. Jeremiah Teelander gave up 1 reception, targeted once for 5 yards. Let's see here. Boo Carter was targeted once, gave up 1 reception for 12 yards. That was on a 3rd down play, too. Caleb Beasley, I mentioned, gave up 1 reception, 1 target, 5 yards. It was a touchdown. Jalen McMurray was targeted. I don't like the stat right here. Jalen McMurray was targeted 3 times, gave up 3 receptions for 28 yards. That's not good. But Trey Poteet at corner, targeted 4 times, gave up 2 receptions for 26 yards. So, again, just some stats, some in-between stats that I thought were kind of interesting in this football game. Again, we don't have to buy super hard into the actual grades from Pro Football Focus, but I think snap counts, I think targets, I think pass blocking reps, all those are important and kind of tell the story of Tennessee from that football game. Hope you guys enjoyed that. When we come back, what does FanDuel think about Tennessee and Georgia? What's that line here in the early week? And what does the FBI, ESPN matchup predictor, think about Tennessee and Georgia? I promise you, you're not going to want to go anywhere. Okay, stay tuned. Hear what it has to say. All that and more is coming up next as we continue right here on a Monday morning Locked On Ball. Stay tuned. Quick question for all you college football fans out there. If you could go back in time and sit front row at your school's biggest rivalry game, what hat would you be wearing? Yes, I said hat. For me, it would be the game. These aren't just any hats. They're the same vintage styles fans wore back in the 80s and 90s. And guess what? They still go for the same price they did back then. When you use promo code LOCKEDON, you're going to get your vintage hat for just $16.99. Head on over to GameCaps.com, thegamecaps.com. Grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design. Use that promo code LOCKEDON for an exclusive discount. Look at these right here. Look at this black cap right here. Whoo, that is pretty. Look at this orange cap right here. Big old Vols lettering across the top. University of Tennessee below. Beautiful hats, vintage hats. Go check them out as well. Promo code LOCKEDON at thecaps.com for that exclusive discount. Promo code LOCKEDON because legends wear the game. All right, guys, we got a final segment left here this Monday. Locked On Vols. Tennessee, a 72-17 winner over East Tennessee State University. Again, it was the one game all year long where it's not on television. It was streaming on the ESPN app and SEC Network, plus ESPN, plus all that and more. But Tennessee handled business. Tennessee did exactly what it was supposed to do, and that was just dominate. Tennessee absolutely dominated and left nothing to be questioned. That is for sure. And now it's setting up for that showdown, Tennessee and Georgia. That conversation is going to dominate everything this week. All eyes are going to be on Knoxville, Tennessee. College game day is going to be here on campus for Tennessee and Georgia. Again, Tennessee ranked number 15 in the country. I haven't seen the rankings totally yet. I think Georgia's top 5. I mean, they took down Austin Peay 28-6. Played with the food a little bit. That's what I said on the reactionary roundtable when I sent my video in. Whereas Tennessee left no doubt 72-17. But again, it's hard to take things from FCS opponents. But nonetheless, I will say this about Georgia, man. That game yesterday or 2 days ago, it was moved up because of weather, bad weather here in the Southeast. Moved up an hour because of weather, so a 3:30 kickoff was moved up to 2:30, and then they were delayed for a little bit during the game. So that's tough. I mean, I'm not making excuses for them only beating Austin Peay 28-6 or whatever, but that's tough as a player, right? To have all those changes in your schedule because athletes are creatures of habit. But nonetheless, we're going to dive into Georgia. We're going to learn all about Georgia this week, and I'm going to get my first start with the first glance piece coming out of VolQuest.com later today. But what does FanDuel Sportsbook think about this matchup? Well, Tennessee enters the week. Okay, Tennessee enters the week as a touchdown underdog to Georgia. Georgia is a 6.5-point favorite in this game, according to our friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook. That total is at 50.5. 50.5, and the spread is Georgia minus 6.5 right now. That's what we're looking at right now here to begin the week. So FanDuel believes that Tennessee is a touchdown underdog at home to the Georgia Bulldogs. But hold on, guys. Good news is coming. The ESPN Football Power Index, the computers, which has always been high on Tennessee, the computers have been high on Tennessee all offseason, even minus Nico Iamaleava when he left. By the way, did anybody stay up and watch Nico the other night? I caught a little bit last week when they played, was it Utah? We played Utah last week, and then I watched a little bit this past week when they played UNLV. He was playing really well in the second half. I had that interception in the game, but nonetheless, I know a lot of Tennessee fans are watching Nico because West Coast plays late at night. But even after Nico Iamaleava left via the transfer portal, the numbers, the pocket protectors, the computers, they still love Tennessee. And the FPI has Tennessee ranked number 9 this week. And the matchup predictor that comes from the Football Power Index gives Tennessee a greater percentage of a chance of a win this week. Before week 2, Georgia was given, according to ESPN matchup predictor, Georgia was given a 60% chance of victory. After week 2, I guess it was the teams playing 2 FCS opponents. Georgia won 29-6, Tennessee won 72-17, and the matchup predictor now gives Tennessee the slightest of edges. The slightest of edges, 51.5%. So giving Tennessee a 51.5% chance of victory at home this week, despite being a touchdown underdog according to FanDuel Sportsbook. So take it for what it is. Take it for what it is. Very, very interesting. We'll see what happens. That's not even the biggest news of this whole, the FBI adjustment, the ESPN matchup predictor adjustment. Sure, Tennessee's now favored to win. So last week, Tennessee was only percentage-wise thought to lose one game according to this metric, and that was the Georgia game. Again, Georgia was given a 60% chance of victory prior to this weekend. Now, after this weekend, Tennessee has technically a better percent chance, according to the ESPN matchup predictor, to beat Georgia, but Tennessee still is not favored to win one game. I don't quite understand this. Louisiana Monroe is who Alabama played, I think. Tennessee played ETSU. They both won so big. I think, Alabama won 73-0 maybe. Tennessee won 72-17. I mean, what more can you take from that? But it's interesting. Third Saturday in October, before week 2, Tennessee was given a 52.7% chance of victory. And following week 2, Alabama has jumped up to 63%. I don't get that. If the week before, following a 45-26 win over Syracuse at a neutral site, and Alabama getting embarrassed on the road in Tallahassee to Florida State, 30-13 or whatever it was, Tennessee was given a 52.7%. Sure, it's a coin flip. I get it. But Tennessee had a better percentage, and then all of a sudden, because Alabama won 73-0 against their team that wasn't very good, and Tennessee won 73-17 against their team that wasn't very good, Alabama jumps up almost 10% points, over 10% points. Interesting. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. So yeah, that was 63% chance of victory. Now Alabama, I guess, coming off a weekend that I don't really understand. Excuse me. Tennessee, the percentage actually goes down for Arkansas. Tennessee went from 79.7% chance of victory before week 2 to 73.3% of victory after week 2. Kentucky, Tennessee stayed about the same, 78.7 down to just 78%, which is the same number. Tennessee went down a smidge. Oklahoma had a fantastic win against Michigan. If any line's going to move, it should have been this one, right? Oklahoma had a great win against Michigan. Before week 2, Tennessee was given a 77.2% chance of victory, according to the ESPN matchup predictor. Now, Tennessee's gone down 2 points, 75.3% chance. Still a hefty percentage to win this game. Not doing the non-conference games that don't matter. Following Florida's loss, Tennessee went from 51.3% chance of win in the swamp to now a 64.1% chance of victory in the swamp. Again, believe that one when I see it, a la Brent Hubbs. I hadn't won down there since 2003. And then after Vanderbilt's, man, they looked impressive in the second half. They just beat the crap out of Virginia Tech, right? Last week, Tennessee was given an 86.3% chance to beat Vanderbilt. Now that's gone down. Still a very good percentage, but it's gone down to 78.9% chance to beat Vanderbilt. I think I did all the games outside of Mississippi State, which is interesting. And again, this one, I have no clue why. Mississippi State has a great win over number 12 Arizona State. Before week 2, Tennessee was given a 79.8% chance of victory. Now, after that great win from Mississippi State, Tennessee's given an 81.2% chance of victory. Sometimes this makes no sense, but is what it is. So anyway, Tennessee given a better percent chance to beat Georgia this week, 51.5%. 51.5% chance according to ESPN's matchup predictor this week against Georgia at Neyland Stadium, despite being a touchdown underdog, according to our friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook. Okay. Whew. How about that? It's been a fun show. Been a real fun show. Monday shows are so much fun. We're continuing to react. If you want some straight up instant reactions, like an hour after the game, go check out the YouTube channel. Check out your audio feeds. I did an instant reaction show Saturday night, fresh off Tennessee's 72-17 win over ETSU. Check that out. Got loads and loads of content coming up this week. We'll have a crossover. I've got a national recruiting analyst going to join the podcast this week at some point to preview a massive recruiting weekend coming up. Josh Ward's coming up. Boogie later in the week. Woo! It's Georgia week, man. Boogie hates Georgia. It is Georgia week. Can't wait to talk about it all week long right here on Locked On Vols. Get in those questions, those comments, those concerns at _Cainer and at Locked On Vols for the mailbag show tomorrow. Until then, enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody.